yeah. I love my HBCU and ball. I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU and man, I hope my team they won. I hope my team they won. Yeah, man. I hope my team they won. I hope my team they won. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, too tired. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, episode 790. This is the Indy Report. I hope you guys are enjoying the SWAC Tournament and the MEAC Tournament and things of the sort today. Right now, I'm your host, David L. Rhodes. Brandon King, Jeffrey Johnson, and Tariq Wilson are all on assignment. I'm hoping Brandon King makes an appearance. I would love to talk to him about Tennessee State, but we'll see. I know everything's kind of hectic right now. So I'm going to go ahead and roll through the intro. Welcome to episode 790 of Inside HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sporting HBCU diaspora, all things HBCU sports for institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture and the HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, David L. Rhodes. Like I said, with my co-hosts Brandon King, Tariq Wilson, and Jeffrey Johnson, who are all on assignment. We are filming our home studios and sending a signal live to KCOH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer Ralph Cooper in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. Now, the first thing I want to say, and I want to try to leave some air in the room for just in case Brandon does arrive, shout out to Tennessee State for getting it done in the OVC championship and pretty much running through the gauntlet. 93-67 was the final score against Morehead State. There was a clear gap between number one and number two, even though they were co-champions, but number one versus number two in that particular conference, and they got it in. Tennessee State got it done. And I will say a couple things with regards to this, which I absolutely love. It's a good shot that Tennessee State, with all the upsets that was occurring in other conference tournaments, that Tennessee State has a shot to get a 15 seed. And there were more upsets that occurred. I'll probably get into the CAA tournament a little bit, even though our HBCUs went over on the men's side. The women's tournament began today. But Hampton and A&T does not play their first game until tomorrow. But shout out to Tennessee State. They pretty much led the entire game, dominated the game by any stretch of the imagination. Most points ever scored in the OVC championship with 93 points. So I just want to make sure we give Tennessee State their flowers. They won. They shared the regular season tournament, and they got it done. They closed the deal. Now, I could tell you about an institution that did not close the deal today, and that would be Bethune-Cookman. Big upset in the SWAC tournament already. Let me see if I could pull up the bracket. They were playing Prairie View A&M after Prairie View A&M defeated Alcorn State yesterday in the second round, and Prairie View pulled the upset off, and it's moving on to the semifinals tomorrow. Well, Friday, excuse me, to the semifinals Friday on March 13th. So there's another game coming on tonight. Jackson State is playing Florida A&M at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That should be a good one, to say the least. We call it a rivalry game if we like, but what an upset by PV. And we talked about this on the show. I went on Cavil and we talked about it last week, that I felt like out of all the number one seeds, the Bethune men was the ones that I didn't think they were going to be able to get there. And here we are. So, you know, and I know they had a pretty hefty NIL budget, but they got a regular season championship out of it. So there's that. But shout out to Bethune-Cookman for an outstanding season. It's an 8-over-1, man. I'm trying to give you guys like I think I thought Bethune-Cookman was one of the best team in the conference. I mean, it's 8 beats to 1. That's an upset. It is a big upset. An 8 beating a 1 is a big upset. So that's just how upsets work. An 8 beating a 1 is a big upset. When the 1 seed goes 1 and done in the tournament, that is an upset. And I think it's a big upset. So with regards to that, now when it comes to the MEAC tournament, well, I don't think we've had any surprises yet. For the women's side, and I apologize for the graphic, the way that it looks. For the women's side, we got Howard took care of business against South Carolina State. I don't have the score in front of me, but I know they took care of business. I think they won by close to 30 points, if I recall correctly. And I think UMez survived against Delaware State today on the ladies' side. Let me see if I can pull up the scores real quick so I can have the scores right now for you guys. But yeah, so that, you know, that's pretty much what I call that chalk. But those individuals got, Howard won 75-43, and Maryland Eastern Shore defeated Delaware State 55-48. So far we're in the chalk mode on the women's side of the MEAC, which I expect, and I expect Howard to run through this tournament. I don't expect it's going to be close. You know, they play the winner of Coppin in the school down the road, and I anticipate that whoever Howard plays is going to be just as bad, if not be just as bad. At least, and I hope for it, especially if it's the school down the road that wins. And they're going to probably do them the deed. So I'm looking forward to see how this Norfolk and Morgan State game goes tomorrow. That's going to be a fascinating one. So yeah, Coppin and school down the road plays tomorrow at noon, and I think that's noon. I can barely see it. And Norfolk and Morgan plays at 2. I think that was like 2 p.m. Now, as for the I'll tell you what, man, the Alabama A&M on the ladies' side caught a close one as well. With regards to what was going on in that region, they held on against FAMU 72-68. Shout out to Kayla Walker with her 31-point day. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes, and see if Alabama A&M can keep this streak going, because they're on the longest win streak right now in all HBCU athletics currently. So I think that's 18 straight for them, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's 18 straight for them. So let's see if they can keep that momentum going. The game tonight, UAPB and Alcorn are playing right now, and ESPN unfortunately is not giving me the score. They're not giving updates on the site, so I got to go to the game right now. UAPB is beating Alcorn State 55-42. You want to talk about an upset alert? So that is occurring right now live on the women's side. Big upset alert. 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter though, so Alcorn has time, but UAPB is taking care of business so far. 55-42 with 7:02 left in the final quarter. So that's it for the SWAC women, and I'll give you guys updates as we go with regards to that. Let me see here. But nah, it's been a pretty interesting tournament so far across the board. One thing I will say, the next one I got up is the men's tournament. Howard doesn't have to play until Friday. Morgan and Delaware State plays tonight at 8 o'clock. So that's going to be or is that 6 o'clock? I can't tell. The graphic is killing me right now, and my eyes are not being kind to me either. Let me double check and make sure what that time is for that game. Oh no, they're playing right now. They're live. Okay, let me see what the score is looking like. They're playing right now. Ooh, that's a bold prediction. I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm ready to say that. Let me pull back up the men's bracket real fast. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I don't know if I want to say that. But I can understand why you would say that. I don't think I'm sleeping on Alabama A&M, Texas Southern, or Southern. Like I don't know if I'm rolling that way. I get the take, but I don't know if I'm rolling that way. I think the most important thing right now, we got Delaware State is beating the Coach of the Year Morgan State Bears 39-33 in the second half. Oh dear, that'll be a huge upset if Delaware State wins it. Wow. Yeah, now we might be if Delaware State beats Morgan, we might be on a collision course to let me pull this bracket back up here so you guys can see my perspective. If Morgan State doesn't figure out a way to make this comeback against Delaware State, it looks like Delaware State is droughting right now because at the half, Morgan was down by 12 against Del State. But if Morgan State can't figure out a way to make this comeback, man, this is going to get interesting real quick because the school down the road might have a beeline to the finals because I think they'll be able to beat Del State. But, you know, it's funny. I was talking to Erica, who's a Howard alum, and she told me that she kind of wished she was on the other side of the bracket because they got to play the winner of the Beholders in South Carolina State. But they got rest, man. They're gonna get a lot of rest, man. They ain't got to play until Friday, so they're sitting in a pretty good spot with regards to that. So they don't got to play until Friday, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. However, we shall see if this game continues to go in the pace that it is. This one's the game you need to watch right now because that'll be a huge upset if Del State can pull this off. But yeah, so I think that covers the gauntlet of the tournament. I'm not sure. I don't know if Jackson State can get there. I'm not sure. Can they beat Southern? They could. They could beat Southern. It'll be interesting, man. I'm kind of fascinated about how this is playing out. When you have the top seeds go out the way that they did, it becomes chaos. But it also becomes, and for me, I'm always thinking about the strategic side of the fence of it all, and we'll get into that. I'll get into that after the break. But I'm also thinking about the strategic side of it too, when it comes to making sure your best teams get into the tournament, so you can get a unit. Like truth be told, you don't want like a 7 or an 8 seed winning the whole thing, or like you kind of don't want that, because now it's going to be on them to try to get a win. But it all depends on where they pair up. Odds are pretty high with Bethune-Cookman. Well, they had Bethune-Cookman in the first 4 anyway. So this is pretty much a done deal with Bethune out that the SWAC tournament champion will be in the first 4. It's just a matter of who they're going to go up against. I think it's a safe bet it won't be up against Howard at this point. The last bracketology about a week or so ago had Bethune playing Howard. Howard might end up with a 16 seed outright with all the upsets that are occurring. So I'm going to go ahead and take the first break. When we come back, I'll break down what occurred in the CAA tournament with regards to our independent HBCUs with Hampton and A&T. And then I'll have a little bit of fun with regards to who won the tournament and things of that sort as well. And my thoughts with regards to how that's going to impact seeding for us, since in the CAA tournament, the 1 seed didn't win that either. So we'll be right back after this commercial break.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear an HBCU image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell them mama hungry.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want a law, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Welcome back to Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, episode 790. This is the Indy Report. Now, so since we're gonna talk about the Indies for a little bit, we'll focus on the men's side right now. The CAA tournament just concluded last night, and congratulations to Hofstra University. First time going to the NCAA tournament in 25 years. The last time they went was in 2001. They were supposed to go in 2020, but then COVID happened, so they didn't get to go. So great story. The coach was for Hofstra, Speedy Claxton, and so he won the conference as a student athlete, and now as a coach, he got to bring those guys to the championship. And they had a true freshman whose brother was an Aggie. That pretty much lit it up, so to speak. And it was he was the player of the tournament. So shout out to him. And Preston Emed, shout out to him, phenomenal player. He's gonna be giving folks fits in that conference for a little while. But with regards to what happened in the tournament to our HBCUs, A&T was in the first game of the tournament. It was the 12 versus the 13, and they pretty much got decimated by Northeastern. The final score was 88-72. One thing I'll say about it, they just didn't show up in the second half. The second half, man, the first half they shot 38% from the field. Second half they shot 43% from the field. They didn't do a good job defensively. Whereas Northeastern pretty much shot 50% from the field. That was the 200th win for the head coach of Northeastern, and it snapped the losing streak as well. So it was disappointing to say the least. And I told Dr. Cavil on the show last week, either we're going to lose the Northeastern badly, or we're going to get to the semifinals of the tournament. I didn't think there was any between. And based on how things went down on that side of the bracket, I thought I had a little bit of a point with regards to that, because we got the brakes beaten out of us. We got the base beaten out of us pretty bad. However, the 1 seed and the 2 seed went down, and it was like handily went down. Like it wasn't even close. With regards to that. Now with regards to Hampton played on Saturday against Townsend, and they lost that game 74-68. Disappointing for them. I thought they should have beaten Townsend. But they had a pretty good season considering. But that being said, Townsend proceeded on Sunday to beat 2 seed Charleston by 25 points. And with regards to another North Carolina institution, Campbell pretty much dominated the game against UNCW, which was the 1 seed in the tournament. The top 2 seeds went down on Sunday. So then the semis happened. Townsend and Hofstra was an outstanding game, winning the overtime. Hofstra, the true freshman game winner, pretty much with like 0.3 seconds left on the clock. And then Hofstra just closed the deal. And I could tell you a funny story. My daughter goes to Hofstra. She ain't a big sports fan. She had no idea. She didn't understand the history that was behind what happened to Hofstra and things of that sort. Because I guess they bust students to the game down in DC. They had a bus. They chartered a bus and go down to DC. So shout out to them. But that being said, man, at the end of the season, I have my thoughts on how I feel about the coaching situation at A&T. I can't speak for Hampton because Jeff and Tariq ain't there, but from my perspective, I believe we should move on, but I don't anticipate that we will. I personally think that the coach right now, his record kind of show you can't hide your record, right? So for me, it's that aspect of it all. That being said, I anticipate he's going to get another year. I think the big challenge right now is trying to keep the guys that we got. With NIL and things like that. So I believe that we have some pretty good talent in the team, enough talent to beat the team that won the championship during the season. One of our conference wins was against Hofstra. So I know we have the talent to be capable to do it. We were just consistently inconsistent throughout the year. So maybe we can try to bring this core nucleus back another year in, and maybe we can play better with regards to that. But I think it was another disappointing season for the Aggies, considering how strong we started prior to conference play. We had like the best record in practice record prior to conference play since the 90s, and then we just could not win games in conference. When we look at the numbers, let me pull up the standings. A&T only won 4 games in conference. They went 4-14. And the previous season, we went 3-15 in conference. And then the previous season, I believe we went 5-13, but I want to verify. Yep, we went 5-13. So 5 wins, 3 wins, 4 wins. So we've got 12 wins in conference in 3 seasons. And then the first season with an interim coach, that interim coach got 8 wins. And that was a much tougher and stronger conference back then. There was a tie for first place with Hofstra and Charleston that season. So I say all that to say, I don't think he is, man. Based on what I've been hearing and based on my sources, I don't think he is. I anticipate him to return next season. So I think next year then we'll be having a discussion about what's going to happen. He's a nice guy. I met him a few times. It's just he's not the wins aren't here, and I don't know. And like it's clear that he's going to have to show that he has the capability to win games with the rotating roster. Like we don't have the NIL budget of some of these institutions in this conference. We're in a conference with Charleston and UNCW who has minimum $2 million NIL budget. Townsend has a $800,000 NIL budget. So I don't think it's realistic to expect him to try to keep this roster together. I know he's going to try, but I know we don't have an $800,000 NIL budget. I know that much. So we're going to see what's going to happen with regards to the season. I know that there's been some recent news about what was going on with the gambling situation. None of those players are no longer on the roster. Some have already turned. Some are playing pro internationally. Some are at other HBCUs or were at other HBCUs. So we'll see how that continues to fold with regards to that. But I will say this: I think Hampton's future is really bright. I can say that. I think Hampton's future is bright with the coach that they have. His coach, he does an outstanding job in recruiting. So I think their future is bright. But it's going to go through the same dilemma that I'm going with regards to A&T and whether or not they're going to be able to keep the talent. So that'll be fascinating to see, to say the least. Lennon, man, how you feeling about your Beholders, man? I mean, Delaware State, by the way, for an update, on the men's side of the MEAC championship in the first round, Delaware State is currently up 45-41. Looks like Morgan State is starting to push a little bit to try to close his lead a little bit more, close his deficit, so to speak. Now it's 45-42 with 8:14 left in the game. So Morgan is going to fight this, man. Like, they cannot afford to lose to Delaware State, especially after Coach Broder's winning Coach of the Year. Which let me give my quick thoughts on that, and I'll probably expound more on MD tonight. I think they got that one wrong. I don't understand how you don't have Blakeney as the Coach of the Year. He's the only coach. I believe he's the only coach that has a winning overall record in the MEAC. But let me verify that, because I don't want you guys telling me no, he didn't. But I'm pretty sure he is. But I'm going to check, because one thing I want to make sure that is the case. Yes, they are the only team in the MEAC with a winning record. Yeah, that's true, man. You definitely need to focus on NC State. But I will say, I'm pretty sure Howard wishes they were on the other side of the bracket. I can tell you that. But yeah, like Howard being the only team in the MEAC with the overall winning record, 11-3 in conference. I don't understand how Blakeney is not the Coach of the Year. I just don't. I think I understand. And the thing is, all right, Howard was 11-3 in conference, which that's weird. Why aren't they? They were 11-3 in conference, so we'll. I don't know how he doesn't win Coach of the Year. I mean, he went 21-10. If there's any institution that's got a shot to get out of the 16 seed line in the MEAC, it's Howard. Nobody else does. I mean, I think that should matter. I mean, now I will say, I mean, they have some pretty good wins too. Like they went undefeated against the CAA. They beat Drexel. They beat UNCW. But I will say, and I had another car, and I text Eric about this as well. UNCW not winning the tournament hurts Howard. Yeah, I talked about this at the opener, man. I said that there was a possibility that I didn't think Bethune was going to make it, and they made that possibility happen very, very swiftly. So but back to the Coach of the Year situation, Howard, Blakeney should have won that, but it's okay. I mean, I think he's going to show why he should have won that in the tournament, and that'll do what it do, because they've been kind of taking care of business in the MEAC to close the end of the month. Like, we talking 79-53 against Maryland Eastern Shore, 91-59 against Delaware State, 167 against the school down the road, 84-59 against Morgan, 90-70 against Coppin. The closest game was their last one against Norfolk, 84-76. Like, they've been on a tear. And the thing is, their MEAC wins have been pretty marginally large. 85-57 against South Carolina State, 88-60 against Norfolk, 72-53 against Coppin. All right, like it's yeah, I saw y'all football sales. Y'all told y'all was ducking us. Y'all turned our game against A&T to a bye week. And y'all added VUL and Chicago State. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves, man. But I know Vic needs wins, so Michael Vick needs to get some wins. No, but we all knew what the schedule was because the MEAC schedule was kind of out because everybody else was out. And then on top of that, we knew the list of teams that you guys were playing because of the contract. So we kind of was able to put the schedule together, especially when word got out that you guys put out the A&T game. Yep, y'all just released it yesterday. So we kind of knew how to put all the pieces together with regards to that. But anywho, I'm going to be curious to see what happens with the home and home that we had with Norfolk, because we had one. I don't know what's going to happen now at this point. Because I know after you guys backed out, we ended up doing a home and home with Chicago State. So Chicago State's going to come to us, and we're going to go to them. So the time will tell with regards to that. The score between Delaware State and Morgan are tied. I mean, it helps separate. It helps split the crowd when you do stuff like that. I know that the school down the road, they kind of prefer it being the same weekend because everybody will go to ours because they don't want crowds down in Durham. They don't want crowds. They think they want crowds, but they don't want crowds. Morgan State's taking the lead, 46-45 with 6:50 remaining. So all right, they woke up. Good for Morgan. But I'll tell you what, if it's not, we got plenty of time left. But I will say, man, they can't afford to lose to Del State. Del State 7-22 overall, 2-12 in conference. They can't afford to lose that. They can't lose that game. Now, if Morgan State wins today, they will be at 500. But it still stands. There was only one team. There's only one team in the MEAC that had a overall winning record, and that was Howard. Nobody else. All right, we're going to take the last break of the show. When we come back, I'm going to talk about the women's tournament in the CAA. It started today, but A&T and Hampton plays tomorrow. So we will be right back after this final break.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
And we have to fund our kids in these colleges, and we have to make sure our kids have seats in these colleges.
And what about HBCUs? You mentioned.
Absolutely. You got to fund them all, and you got to make sure they're properly funded. You know, the real reason why I went after Comcast and Charter, it didn't have anything to do with my cable networks. It didn't. What happened was a gentleman wanted to do the Black College Sports Network in partnership with the HBCUs. And Comcast did not accept it. And that would have made a lot of money for these black colleges.
Absolutely.
And it would have educated the Black College Sports Network. This is what he wanted to do. That would have educated a lot of black kids. And when they didn't do that, that's when I came off the bench and said, okay, I'm going to light you up like a Christmas tree. Okay. That was the real reason why I got into it, was when I saw what happened with the Black College Sports Network, which I don't own. I just knew.
Why didn't you buy it?
I just knew. I just knew that these black.
I like that talk.
All right. I knew that these black colleges were going to benefit, and these black kids were going to get the education that they deserved and not have to pay.
There's a shot.
That might be.
It could be. Right field. Grand slam. shot. That's how you get hot, young fella.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do, and all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
Movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
Compress the analytic data with your hip-hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want a law, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Welcome to Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. This is episode 790. This is the Indy Report. All right, here we go. We got the CAA Women's Basketball Championship. It started today. UNCW got the win today against Northeastern. They play Monmouth. What we're getting on Thursday, A&T is playing William & Mary to open up the tournament tomorrow. And I will say this, and a lot of folks who don't watch the CAA tournament, I wanted to give you some perspective. Ever since A&T and Hampton has been in the conference, the seeds that have been winning this tournament has been the 7 seed and the 9 seed. Some people say that the pocket of somebody who's probably going to end up winning the tournament is going to go between 6 and 9. A&T is currently the 9 seed. Towns is the 7 seed. So I think the winner of William & Mary and A&T gets to play Charleston. A&T has played Charleston tough. They've had opportunities. They've had double-digit leads in the fourth quarter in both games that they played against Charleston this season, and they just couldn't hold on to win the game. So I do think we have a good shot against them. We are capable of beating those guys, but I will say they have a phenomenal team. But I think the first step is getting past William & Mary. William & Mary pretty much took it to us at the beginning of the year. So for those who don't know, William & Mary was the tournament champions last year. A&T was the regular season champions last year, and now they're going to play again in the first round. I think we can get it done. We're playing our best ball right now, so I think we got a shot to get this thing done. So if we can do that, I think we can have a shot against Charleston. The finals are going to be played on CBS Sports Network. Wouldn't shock me if we make a run, to be honest with you. We have the talent. I just think we just got to reduce the turnovers. If we can get the turnovers to a manageable state, we could beat anybody in this bracket. I solely believe that. But so it's going to get interesting. But the CAA tournament tends to not, on the women's side, tends to not be chalky. Like what happened on the men's side is typically what happens on the women's side. Like you have a lot of the lower seeds tend to, the higher seeds, should I say? Well, no lower seeds. The lower seeds tend to pull upsets and see what you got. I think FAMU is going to win. I got FAMU, so give me FAMU. But so it should be interesting. I want to give some quick shout outs. CAA announced their women's basketball awards today. Shout out to Shania Clark, who was all CAA first team and all CAA defensive team. So shout out to her. Shout out to Paris Locke, who was CAA third team. And I'm going to be honest with y'all, I think she should have been second team, but that's just me. The fact that first team has 4 guards gives me an argument to say she should have been second team, but first team as well. But I get it. But yeah, so like CAA first team was 4 guards and 1 center, which Clark being the center. But so shout out to those Aggies. Shout out to Kayla Lazama for being all CAA third team. From my was where I currently live in Boston, up in New England. So shout out to her. Quick update on Dell State. Morgan State currently is up 56-54, now 58-54. They just scored. Morgan's trying to pull this away and get this and close this deal and send Dell State home. Oh, what a block. But okay, so It's should be an interesting tournament like it normally is. I will be trying to watch a little bit since we're opening, get some in during my lunch break or whatever. So try to see how we do. I think I think we have an outside shot to make a decent run in this tournament though. Part of the reason why I have the favorite is because typically the 7 or the 9 seed wins this thing. So, it's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds. Now, as for Hampton, Elon's really good. I think it's going to be tough for Hampton to get it done with regards to that. But if you ask me who should win this tournament based on history, it's probably going to either be A&T or Townsend. And there's home field advantage for Townsend, by the way. Townsend tends to attend these games pretty heavily. They got a pretty decent fan base. So I expect Townsend to be very active, so to speak, not being that far away from the CareFirst Arena in DC. And that's pretty much all I got for today, guys. There will be no Indy Report next week. I'm out of town. I'm on vacation. A much needed one, to say the least. So make sure you guys follow me on Twitter at champd1012. I might have internet on my vacation. I might not. We'll see. I'm gonna have some internet. It's just a matter if it's gonna be any good. I'm going on a cruise, so cruisers tend to not have like the greatest internet on earth. So I'm gonna go ahead and close out this show. I think I got a question in there. I saw. Oh, quick update before I close out, because I was looking. UAPB 63-60, 4 seconds left. That would be painful. Let me pull up the bracket on the ladies' side. That pretty much puts a beeline for Alabama A&M to win this whole thing. UAPB was up by more. Alcorn had to pull a tremendous comeback to close this gap. UAPB wants it more, man. UAPB wants it more. So shout out to them, man. It looks like they're going to get it done. They're going to get it done. So shout out to them. All right. All right. Let me close this bad boy out. I like Alabama A&M, man. I don't know if Southern going to be able to stop that. They can prove me wrong, though. They can prove me wrong. But I think Alcorn being out, it opens the window up a little bit for Alabama A&M. They still got to get the job done, but I think it makes the path a little bit more easier in that regard. So it should be interesting to see how that goes. Thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. We look forward to next week as we discuss the latest news in the lab. Make sure you follow me. Like I said again, David L. Rhodes on Twitter at champd1012. Follow Dr. Kenyatta Cavil on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Follow Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Facebook and Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube. Dream big and continue to move forward. We'll talk to you soon. Course, lecture, dismissed.